Shalom Aleichem and Erev Tov. We're together again, Baruch Hashem, in our weekly shir, and as our custom is, to begin with the weekly story. And tonight it's going to be a double header. It's going to be two stories, one involving something that was revealed during this war that we find ourselves in. Unfortunately, the war against the Hamas, and one in the previous war against the Hezbollah, Yemach Shemam Zichram, both of them, in the last Lebanese war against in Lebanon. To tell the first story first and the last story last, there was in the midst of all the activity that Chabad has been doing during the war, all over Israel, and not only with the soldiers, but with people that are they're in trauma, they're in distress, people that lost children in the war, lost soldiers in the war, and so on. But the Chabad Shluchim have found themselves in Gaza together with the soldiers. And when one of the soldiers was asked to put on tefillin, so he says, "What do you mean to put on tefillin? I put on tefillin every day." So the shliach was very happy. A young man of maybe 20 years of age. And then he says, "But I'll tell you something. Here's something that might surprise you. I consider myself to be the Rebbe's son." The Rebbe's son, obviously not biological son, but a spiritual son, and the shliach that was standing there at the tefillin with his tefillin, he asked him, "What do you mean by that?" So he says, "Well, we're going back some 21 years before he was born. His parents, they got married. They were living." And they still live in Ma'alot, the city not far from Tzfat, on the way to Nahariya in the north. And they were married for quite a few years, and they didn't merit to have children. And whatever they tried, all the sgulas and with all the charity that they gave, and the shliach over there knows them very well, Rabbi Kaspi. Nothing. They went to many doctors to be checked up. Nothing helped. And finally, one night, it was a Friday night, his father tells the story that he was sleeping and he had a dream. What did he see in his dream? He sees the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He sees the Rebbe. And the Rebbe comes to him in his dream, and the Rebbe tells him that he shouldn't be in distress anymore. Distress, him and his wife, they shouldn't have any more melancholy, because this time next year they'll be hugging a male baby boy. Okay, the guy went through a lot in his life, and especially during his married years without children. He woke up and he realized that it was only a dream, and he didn't take it that seriously. And after a little while, he fell back to sleep. After he falls back to sleep, he again has another dream. In this dream, the Rebbe comes to him again. And in the dream that the Rebbe comes to him again, the Rebbe repeats the same words that he said before, that he shouldn't be sad anymore, and he should comfort his wife, and they should know that this time next year they're going to be having a baby boy. And again, he wakes up, and he feels that it's already the second time that he has the same dream. So, he feels that it has some type of clout. But again, he said, it was only a dream, and, what can you deduce from dreams? And he goes back, finally falls asleep. After he goes back to sleep, he wakes up, he dreams a third time. In this dream, the Rebbe says to the father, who was not a father then, he was only a husband, He says, I see how you're relating to the dreams, and I understand that you might not take the toichen, the content of the dreams that you're having seriously. So therefore, I would like to give you a proof. I would like to give you a sign that everything that you've heard in the dreams till now is 100% serious. And the Rebbe tells him, incredible. The Rebbe tells him in the dream, tomorrow morning you're going to go to shul. He did go to shul on Shabbos. And when you enter shul, when you enter the synagogue, so the minyan is already going to be in Psukei de Zimra. Okay, in other words, in the middle of davening, or at the beginning of davening, but already into the middle of davening, and when the chazan, when the shliach tzibur gets to the prayer Nishmas Kol Chai, okay, which is before Yishtabach, before Baruch Hu, so the Gabbai is going to walk up to you and is going to signal you to go and to change the Baal Tefillah, because they're elderly people, and it's hard for them to stand a long time by the lectern, the prayer, the prayer lectern. So the Gabbai is going to ask you to change off the person that has been davening till now. This will be a sign to you that everything that you saw in the dream is 100% true. Okay. From this third dream, he didn't wake up until the morning. But when he woke up in the morning, he saw that it was already late, and he got himself in order, and he put on his talis, his prayer shawl, and he went to shul. When he opened the doors of the shul and walked in, he saw that he was late, but he wasn't that late. But the congregation was already where? They were in Psukei de Zimra. And this already gave him a slight shock. He quickly opened up his siddur, his prayer book, and he started to daven quickly in order to catch up to the minyan. And as he's catching up to the minyan, exactly at the prayer of Nishmas Kol Chai, so all of a sudden the Gabbai stands up, walks over to him, the father, and he asks him, motions to him, please change over the person that he put from the beginning of davening, because it's difficult for him to stand. And he's totally shot out of his mind. But he honored the request. He went and he switched over the chazan, and he davened. Exactly a year from that time, he, the soldier that is telling the story, was born. And it goes without saying, this soldier says, that you can understand now why I consider myself the Rebbe's son, because it was the miracle in merit of the Rebbe that was revealed that he was born. And then he says, to sign off, he says, and I believe without a doubt that with Hashem's help and with the Rebbe's help, we'll be triumphant in this war, and there's no doubt that we'll have a victory. And then the last words, and this is a soldier without a kippah, without tzitzis yet, without a kippah yet, but he puts on tefillin every day. And the last words that he says in front of the camera, Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu Melech Ha'Moshiach le'olam voed. That's the first story. The second story takes us years back. This is going back to the second Lebanese war that was in 2006, Tafshin Samech Vav, 5,766. In the course of the war, then it was a very difficult war because there were unbelievable amounts of rockets, and the battles were very, very challenging, to say the least. Israel again always wants to show how humanitarian they are, and they had all their rockets and all their missiles, everything embedded within like we've seen in Gaza, everything embedded within the the hospitals, the schools, the apartment buildings of the civilians, you name it. So it was a very difficult war. Nevertheless, Baruch Hashem, we were triumphant to a certain extent, and we'll tell the story, and then we'll be able to understand more. One of the soldiers that was there in the war, his name is Rabbi, not Rabbi, excuse me. His name is Vaknin, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to double check to make sure. Yossi, yes, Yossi Vaknin, from Tiberias, from Tiberia. He was in this war, and before he was recruited, and he was already a Chayal Miluim. He was a reservist. So his cousin, Rabbi Gershom Ochana from Kfar Chabad, visited him, and he gave him as a present to watch over him during the time that he was going to be in the during the war, in the battle in Lebanon. He gave him a very special set. It's a chitas with a pushka, with a charity slot, inside the cover. It's like I think it's a cover from some kind of a fabric, a very tough fabric, to watch over it, and it zips up, and this is what he gave him. And Yossi Vaknin, he testifies to the fact that from the time that his cousin gave him the chitas and the built-in charity pouch, the chitas and the charity pouch, it didn't leave him once during the war. And as we know, the concept, the Rebbe gives the instruction in regard to the book called Chitas, because it includes within it the complete 5 books of the Chumash, of the five books of Moses, and the complete book of Tehillim, Psalms of David, and also the complete book of Tanya, the Hasidic philosophy of Chabad, written by the Alter Rebbe, who we're going to be celebrating in just a few days. To be exact, 4 days, we're going to be celebrating the Rosh Hashanah LeChasidut, the new year to the Hasidic calendar, Yud Tes Kislev, the day that the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shner Zalman of Liadi, was liberated from the Russian prison. So the Rebbe gives an instruction not to have in every single automobile, in every single every single ship, every single vessel at sea, every single vessel and airship, there should be a chitas and a pushka, a charity box. And to this day, there are many. I think the majority of the buses in Eged of Jerusalem, they have the chitas and the pushka. And this was due to the terrible atrocities that were, the bombings. This was in the Intifada, that they were bombing, Lo Aleinu, Hashem should watch over us. They were bombing buses. And in the El Al planes, if I'm not mistaken, I think every single El Al plane has in it a chitas and a pushka. I mean, these are Israeli vessels. But and the Rebbe says that it's important and it's good that every single child, man, woman, and child in the household, wherever a person may be, should have a chitas and a pushka with them. The chitas also includes a sidur, a prayer book, Tilas Hashem. Anyway, he was recruited, and as a reservist, he was taken into Lebanon. And he tells about a very special mission that the soldiers that he was together with were sent into a battle in the heart of Lebanon. Before they went into this battle, that was a matter of an hour or two, he says that there were Chabad Hasidim that came into Lebanon. And they were making sure that people put on tefillin, that soldiers should have letters in the Sefer Torah. And this particular Chabadnik, he asked Yossi Vaknin if he has a chitas, if he has the chitas book and a charity box. And Yossi smiles and he tells the Chabadnik, he motions to his backpack and he says, definitely, wherever I go, it goes with me. The Chabadnik wasn't amused. He wasn't pleased with the answer that Yossi gave him. And he said to him, and he was at a very serious face, he said, it's good that you have it in your backpack, but it would be even better if you have it with you in your chagor. Chagor is it's like the vest that the soldiers go out to war in, go out to battle in, that contains their the magazines of bullets for the machine guns and a lot of other equipment. And for some reason, Yossi, he tells in the story, he says that he looked at the Chabadnik and he took his words very seriously. And he took heed to the point that he took out 2 magazines of his machine gun, and he put it into a different pocket. And he did as the Chabadnik instructed him, to put the chitas in the pocket right in front of the place of his heart. Okay, that was supposed to watch over him. They entered this battle, and he said it was a very cruel battle. The enemy didn't stop shooting, and not only were they shooting, but he testifies to the fact that actually bullets were hitting them. But he said, Baruch Hashem, because of his vest, so the vest stopped the bullets, and when this battle was through, they were called back. They were called back in order to go and to make an advanced planning of what they're going to be continuing in their battle. But and this is what we started with. The unfortunate fact was that the Israeli government totally pulled out the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, from Lebanon, leaving the border literally up to all the kibbutzim and moshavim that are on the border, leaving it open to be infested, Rahman litzlan, as we saw till this point, to this day, by the Hezbollah animals. But then he says the soldiers, the reservists, were allowed to go back home. He didn't realize the greatness of the miracle that he experienced until he was on his way back home. When he got back home, he was taking off his equipment, and then he noticed that one of the places where a bullet hit, there was a hole, but he didn't see the bullet. Basically, in the vest, when the bullet hits the vest, so it hits, it might go in a little bit, and it gets stuck in the vest, and so the soldier just pulls it out. But one place where there was a hole, he didn't see any bullet. So he opens up the pocket, and he sees that this was the pocket where the chitas, the sefer, the book of the Chumash, Tilim, Tanya, and Siddur, was inside of, opposite his heart. He takes it out, and I'll show you, there's a picture here of the chitas. The bullet pierced the chitas through and through, from cover to cover. And needless to say, everyone that is familiar with the chitas, it's like very thick. It's very, very thick. And not only that, but at the end, the bullet went out of the chitas, but then it tried to continue, and it reached the little pouch of the tzedakah pushka, of the charity, that's the charity pouch. And in the charity pouch, there was a coin of 10 agorot, 10 agorot. And he saw how the bullet hit the 10 agorot and literally bent this coin, but that's it. It didn't continue onto, God forbid, onto Yossi Vaknin's heart. And this was the incredible miracle that Yossi told. Here is a picture, it's printed here, of the chitas, as you can see it, cover to cover, and it's open from the middle. Cover to cover, the hole went through and through. The bullet piercing the entire chitas, stopping at the, as we said before, stopping at the 10 agorot coin in the tzedakah pouch. We have many miracle stories. And the Rebbe tells us that every miracle is not only important to acknowledge, but it's important to go and to publicize. And to publicize miracles, the Rebbe says, as we know in the miracle story of the history of the Jewish nation, we're coming at the end of this month to the holiday of Hanukkah, and the mitzvah of lighting the Hanukkah lights is mitzvah of Pirsuma Nisa, the Rebbe says. The mitzvah of, and we make a blessing on the Pirsuma Nisa to go and to make sure that, to publicize the miracle. And so the Rebbe says, the publicizing of any and every miracle that the Jewish nation experiences brings forth the greatest miracle that's going to be in the history of the creation. This is the coming of the true and the complete Geula, the Geula Hamitis Vashlema, with the third and the eternal Beis Hamikdash, and with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, and it should be Teichef Umiyad Mamesh Mamesh Mamesh. Yichi Adonenu Morenu V'Rabbeinu HaMelech HaMoshiach Le'olam Voed. Amen.